You're watching Dread Next Door. Sit back, because this next story is truly unsettling. I've always been drawn to the unknown, the unexplained. As a child, I would spend hours poring over books on urban legends and myths, fascinated by the idea that there were still mysteries in the world that couldn't be explained. So, when I stumbled upon the legend of Ravenswood, I knew I had to investigate further. Ravenswood was a small town on the outskirts of the city, a place where the streets were lined with tall trees and the houses seemed to loom over you like sentinels. I remember the first time I drove into Ravenswood, the way the trees seemed to close in around me, the way the shadows seemed to move of their own accord. I parked my car on the main street, getting out to stretch my legs and take in the sights. The street was empty, the only sound the creaking of the trees and the distant hum of a lawnmower. I walked down the street, taking in the old houses, the peeling paint and the overgrown gardens. Every house seemed to have a story to tell, every window a pair of eyes that watched me as I passed. I stopped in front of one house in particular, a tall, imposing structure with a front door that seemed to stare at me like a mouth. The door was old and worn, the paint chipped and faded. I could feel a strange energy emanating from it, a sense of power that seemed to draw me in. I reached out a hand, hesitating for a moment before touching the door. It was cold to the touch, the wood smooth and unyielding. As I stood there, I began to feel a creeping sense of dread. It was as if something was waiting for me on the other side of the door, something that didn't want me to leave. I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself I was just imagining things. But as I turned to walk away, I heard a faint whisper in my ear. "Welcome to Ravenswood." I spun around, but there was no one there. The street was empty, the only sound the wind rustling through the leaves. I knew then that I had to get out of there, to leave Ravenswood and its secrets behind. But as I turned to walk back to my car, I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was cold and clammy, the fingers digging deep into my skin. I tried to shake it off, but it only gripped tighter. I spun around, but there was no one there. The hand was gone, but the feeling of dread remained. I saw the message on the front door of the house, the words "You should not have come here" seeming to stare at me like a warning. I knew then that I had to leave Ravenswood behind, to never return to the town again. But as I turned to walk away, I felt a sense of unease. And then, I heard the whisper in my ear, "You'll never be able to escape." If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales. Drop a comment below telling us your personal experience. Until next time, sleep tight.